I'm on air right now. Ciao, I'm Beatrice Bianco. Wait a second, because Adam didn't understand where to connect. Wait just a second. No icon design. Okay, sorry guys, I'm a little bit clumsy with this type of things. Actually, it's my first time, so please be patient. Okay, so here is Adam. Where is Adam? Yes. Adam, are you there?
Ciao!
Ciao, come stai?
Bene, te?
Bene, bene, grazie. I had like
I see
5 minutes.
you're appropriately colorful in the background.
Yes, exactly. No, I had like 3 minutes of anxiety because of these new technologies, IGTV stuff. I was
Oh God, yeah. No, I'm so happy that you're doing it. By the way, Mumu wants to say hi. Mumu,
oh,
say hi.
ciao, Mumu. Super
Yeah,
nice dog.
she misses you.
Oh, she's so lovely. How is she?
Mumu is always great. I mean, it's like having a giant bag of joy. So like when I'm like, oh, the world is ending, everything is on fire, and she comes up and she's like, she's fine.
Yeah, such a super support.
Yeah, giant fluffy bag of stress absorption.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. No, Oreste, my cat, basically sleeps.
Yeah,
And
cosa?
sometimes he looks at me like, humans, you know.
Yeah, I think cats and dogs and food.
Yeah, definitely. So,
So now to the serious things.
yeah, let's start with the tough talk.
Yeah.
So, where shall we start?
Should we begin at the beginning? How did you become a gallerist?
Oh my God.
Why did you choose this very difficult life, Beatrice?
That's the question I ask myself like every morning.
How did you get there?
Because I wanted to be independent. I wanted to get my own freedom. So that's why I started to go through this path, basically. When I was younger, I actually started with art. I started to work in the art field, but it didn't really get me that well. I mean, it was too marketing, too connections and weird things. I don't know. And then I was still in Paris. I ended up working in this design gallery, contemporary design gallery called Armel Soyer. And then I discovered this magic world of concept and function together with this magic combination between the creative, the gallerist, and the artisan. And then I felt totally in love. So then I started.
And being in Paris probably helped.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. No, it was great.
When was that? Like, how long was the period from when you switched over? By the way, you didn't mention, you said, yes, you came from art, but you didn't mention what you did before that, because I think it's really interesting.
No, it wasn't that interesting because I was like an internship experience. So it wasn't that into it. But I mean, I've always been in love with art, contemporary art. But then when I started to see it closer, something missed in my mind. I mean, something were not right to me. So I don't want to say that I lost interest in that, but it wasn't enough to me. Instead, this way of creating new perspective through real life, so through professionals, through creatives, through artisans, to me was much more interesting because there's this human connection, which is basically the soul of our job.
Human collection. I like that. Am I part of your human collection? I'd be very proud if I am.
Oh, yes, definitely. Yes.
Am I the best? Am I your favorite?
Top three, let's say. So what about you?
No, I want to ask you a couple more questions though. So, because it's really, you started out kind of on a whim. Well, not on a whim, but I mean, you started out in 2016, I think it was, with camp. Is that correct?
No, 2015.
2015. And you set up a gallery which is very distinct from all the others in Milan, doing something very different. And normally when people start out, it's quite unusual in a sort of relatively small industry like that to do something that's so different. They normally slowly lead towards unusual things, and you sort of went out with a bang. Or you came in with a bang. Like what led you to come up with the idea of something called Camp Gallery that went with artists that like nobody else was going with, and not only that, but also making new commissions, which is, as I know you like being busy because I talk to you, but my God, it's a lot of work every time to be doing new commissions with artists that are, quite unknown, and doing work that's quite wild with being new to the business.
Well, at the beginning, at that time, there was also my ex-associate Valentina. We wanted to make something different, of course, because, of course, here in Milan, there are several galleries dealing with vintage, historical design, etc. So it was pointless to start to compete with dinosaurs like big galleries names that we know. I mean,
we're not going to say it.
Exactly. No, I'm joking. But no, to me, again, to me, the interesting part is the connection, the exchange between the gallery and the designer. So it was pointless to me to start with basically that design.
Yeah. Just to tell whoever's watching that I was approached by Beatrice and Valentina, and normally I get clients come to me and they're sort of cautious or overly optimistic about what they want to do. And it was very interesting. The call with you in 2016, we were introduced by Marco Sammicheli, who knew both of us separately and thought we'd worked well together. And you and Valentina said to me, "What do you want to do? Use us. This is an opportunity to do something that you've never been able to do, that you've always wanted to do." And I was like, really? And then it actually happened. I mean, in a kind of crazy whirlwind of 3 months. And I think other artists have had the same experience with you. And it's a very joyful approach from the artist's perspective.
For me too, because I mean, the interesting.
It's a lot of headache for you.
It is. White hair, headaches. Yeah, it is. But there's some pleasure in it. Trust me. No, to me,
at the very end with a cigarette collapsing on your bed.
Yes, exactly. No, to me, the interesting part, of course, it's the process. And I'm so curious to see how a designer, an artist, an architect I am collaborating with starts to open his ideas and starts to elaborate. So it's important for this gallery to maintain this space open, I mean, this mental space open to experiment, to do something different, because otherwise it would be pointless. And I like the process. I like seeing like you at the beginning in 2016, and the 23rd December talk.
Yeah, I remember.
7 hours talk. So what shall we do? The enthusiasm, the energy, it's alive, you know. It's so important, and
it is a bit of a drug, isn't it?
It is definitely, and I mean, love to see creatives like you and others that I'm working with to disclose their magic visions. So it's the best part. It is the best part. Then the practical parts, it's like
there's a lot of it. Yeah, and you always manage to make it happen at the very last. I still remember when I came in, I think I just flew in from London and the show was opening in 2017 in like a few hours, and you and Valentina, these like, you know, very beautifully dressed, beautiful ladies, like with holding things up, like hammering stuff in. And like, yourselves, and you hadn't stopped in like a week. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
And then an hour later, super elegant with champagne.
This is the gallery stuff, you know. I mean, you are a handler, you are a logistic manager, you are PR.
Yeah, it's like pass me the drill. Where's the super glue? And then 5 minutes later, it's like Gilles Deleuze. Oui. Merleau-Ponty. Oh, so, yes, that's a very interesting perspective on the leitmotif behind this piece.
Totally that. But this is fun, you know. You never get bored somehow, so that's why I like it. I mean, it is these aspects can go very well together, you know. You get very good energy for both aspects, like handy aspect and also conceptual, intellectual, blah blah blah. So
you get to have like very distinct characters which are very different from each other, and it's kind of fun flipping between them, like different hats.
No, I don't know if I can say that, because you know me, I'm always like blah, the same. Exactly, chatting hard like a crazy, chatting, blah blah blah, whatever, don't care. So no, the hacks thing, it's not really my cup of tea, but I like to change anyway. I like to change a lot. Yeah.
And so my journey, I mean, our trajectories have been, I guess, relatively similar, sort of like starting off in something and then moving into something slightly parallel. And I studied in architecture at the Architectural Association, and then left. And I was already wanting to do stuff that was like really, that, you know, that at any given moment in time, there's like a zeitgeist in a particular place. And I guess what I was interested in, the things that I still love and I always have loved and I always will love, were just not fashionable. And there weren't other people that I knew who were sort of into the same sort of work or looking at the same sort of ideas. So I ended up kind of not being able to sort of get work or sort of find other people to collaborate with. So I ended up working in practices, architectural offices, which was great. It's like a really great way to support yourself. You learn a lot, you're around really cool people. And that was my day job for many years. But on the side, because it was like during the day, I was like pushing toilets around in AutoCAD. Which is like, you know, I mean, it's, you know, they pay you to do it. But in the evenings, I was like, oh my God, I need to do creative stuff. And my brain was like rotting. And I was doing projects on the side, and they were meeting some cool people, slowly meeting cool people that I was doing things with, and getting commissions that didn't pay very well. But it was fine because I had my day job. And so I would do them and put everything into them. And I ended up over like 6-7 years building up a portfolio of really cool work. And then basically just before I met you, I had a good position at a large architectural practice in London. And it started to get to the point where I had to make a decision, because like either I had to commit to being at this office, you know, like you were in the gallery, no, you had to commit at some point, or I had to leave. I had to give up, and I had to give up my own practice, or I had to leave and commit to my own practice, because I started getting more work in for myself, but I was also getting more commitment required from the office. And so that's when I took the jump, and it was terrifying, super scary. So
but then,
scary. And then I met you.
You got the right choice, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, it was really. I'm not somebody who you know, I'm not somebody who takes out 3 credit cards and takes risks on things. I sort of tend to take little baby steps. So it was just a bit scary, and I think everyone has to go through that if they're going on their own. And for the first year, it worked out actually really well, and then the second year worked out even better, and actually it's been getting better since. And it was, you know, basically because of opportunities that people gave me. Marco Samicheli putting me in touch with you, and me being put in touch with Turkish Ceramics, which happened immediately afterwards, and Lee Ivett and Andy Summers up in Glasgow, who run the Architecture Fringe, noticing me for some reason and commissioning me to produce this project for them, which got a lot of attention, still getting a lot of attention. And it's because these people, you, Marco, Lee, Andy, taking a risk that basically I was okay. If one of the two of those hadn't have happened, I would be pushing toilets again around
No, come on,
around
no.
around in Revit.
I don't believe so. But I remember when Marco at that time told us, you definitely should meet this guy. You will go so well together, etc.
And he said the same about you.
He was so right. He was super right.
Oh,
and
completely.
Yeah.
I still call him. He was my guardian angel, because so these people like that are kind of magic. So like I'm still nobody, but like nobody knew me, and I was in Rome at the British Academy. I got a scholarship to do a project at the British Academy in Rome for 6 months. And I think Marco is just amazing. He's always looking for new things and interesting people. And somehow he found my Instagram feed, which was just like this obsessive focus on like all the buildings that I was coming across in Rome, very kind of geeky. And he was like, I really like this. And he came down, and when he had a business trip to Rome, he actually came and visited like little me in my tiny studio in the British Academy that no one was visiting. And then eventually it led to, he suggested me to other people, he suggested me to you, and it sort of started from there. So some magic fairy godfathers.
Yeah, definitely. He really cares about you and your work. Definitely, yes. Yeah. Now, and then let's talk about Campitudine.
Yay! Well, it's your name, literally, and it's what I do.
No, because I loved your recent interview. I'm not telling where. I mean, you had a very nice.
Okay. I know the one you mean.
No, but I loved your expressing how to say sentiment to this word, to this concept. So and I found it very very close to what I think about what camp is basically. And I liked it. So would you like to tell me a little bit about it?
Oh God. Okay. So campness. I mean, this is why I was so excited when I saw. I hadn't even met you, and Mark was like, "Camp Gallery." I was like, "Huh?" Because it's. I guess it was the first. So I used to read a lot, as you do too. Also Isaac Asimov. By the way, everyone, we are both science fiction fans. We both love Isaac Asimov.
Definitely, yes.
But I remember sort of reading a lot of the time when I was young, trying to find things that talked about stuff that I felt. When you want to read something, you feel like that's about me. I understand, I relate to that. And there's a lot of stuff that I was reading that I couldn't relate to. And I remember coming across Susan Sontag's book on Notes on Camp, and just thinking, oh my God, this is basically what she is describing, and I think she describes it in a slightly problematic way, because she's like the intellectual, kind of critically looking at it like this thing, but nonetheless, she's so clever and she describes it very well.
Yeah.
And it's this incredible enjoyment, without irony, with all earnestness, in full expressive mode, not holding back, of your full identity in an aesthetic way that bears no relationship to norms of good taste, or what people in the centers of aesthetic power considered to be the signification of good quality or intellectuality. So it's people creating their own taste cultures effectively, whether communally or individually. And obviously this has a lot of connection with queer history and queerness, but it's absolutely not defined by it. That's just part or something that, or a realm of aesthetics that could be considered camp. But of course, this applies to almost everyone outside of the canon who really believes in expression, and basically doesn't care what the snobs think. And it's that no holds barred, joyous form of expression of oneself, to the nth degree that, gets me very, very excited. As she puts it, she calls it the good she called it the good taste of bad taste.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This synthesized very well. Basically, it's such a wide concept. I mean, it's huge, and I don't know. To me, it's I got very close to this word basically because of the gallery. Because at that time we were thinking about how can we call the gallery, etc. And I was reading actually Gillo Dorfles at the time.
Oh yeah,
Who was,
kitsch.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Who was actually quoting Susan Sontag about camp. I know Susan Sontag basically because of her photography reporting work, not very much about this this booklet that she wrote about camp, and I discovered it through Gillo Dorfles' book. So when I read the word camp, I was like, oh, that's perfect. That's definitely perfect. It can be pronounceable. Yeah, voilà, tout à fait, c'est moi. No, and the funny thing that came up to my mind was it's super easily pronounceable by Chinese either. Like if everybody can say camp, you know, everybody, even my cat. So super
camp.
Exactly, and that's why I got in love with the concept, and I started to know more and more about it, and it totally gets me. Like every time I discover a new new aspect of it, because it's so big, it's huge, and I like the fact that it's more sensibility than anything else. So it's how you feel things, which is very personal, and I like the fact that you have to stand for it to feel how you want to feel, the way you want to feel, and I find it very I don't like to say democratic, but you know, it's a freedom thing. It's definitely a freedom concept, which is
no, it's absolutely, and it's quite a lot of work. You know, it's like having I guess having a hobby. No, it's like if you want to do it properly, you have to do it properly. You have to do it well. And so
yeah,
to be camp, to find a way of expressing yourself, it's actually a lot of work. And in the process of doing it, you discover a lot about yourself.
definitely, definitely, yes, yeah, yeah. That's why I am very attached to it. And
what did you think about the Met Gala?
I was so happy. I was like, oh my God. Oh, I actually bought the book. And you know what? Because of this interview, I brought this.
Yes, you were wearing that at our opening.
No, Annalisa and Francesco went to New York,
yeah.
And they bought me this souvenir from the Met Museum. So nice, super nice. I loved it. And of course, I was super happy about it. Now, and then actually, this Met Gala thing was super nice because basically put the attention of the, of the public on such such concept, which is always very difficult to express, always very difficult to define. Of course, in this case, they concentrated their focus on fashion, which is super fun, and it's a very good way to talk about this concept. It's not just that, definitely not just that, but there's already something. And I don't know, I found it very interesting. I found it very fun. Okay, I have to say I'm not fan of Lady Gaga, which is kind of a camp icon. I know, I'm sorry. I mean, I love Alejandro.
Drama.
I love Alejandro, but then the rest, I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah. So what about your thoughts on Met Gala thing?
Oh, I just enjoyed it. I to be honest, I didn't quite know what to make of it because it was so glamorous. But because I actually didn't really know what the Met Gala was. It's one of those sort of New York traditions that seem a little bit alien for a Londoner like myself. But yeah, it looked really fun, and I enjoyed the outfits very much. So, and there's nothing better than actually doing something rather than talking about it. If you know what I mean, to show what something might be like.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know there was a lot of criticism about it, but to be honest, I just enjoyed it from afar, from a distance. I didn't see the show. I didn't see the show in New York.
No, me neither. I didn't have the time to go there because actually I was on your project, on your last project. You remember
Sorry.
last year? No,
Yes, I
remember.
I remember that crazy project.
Yeah, crazy project.
I mean, just generally, I think the attitude of campiness and camp, I think it would be good. Not as a style. I don't think it's not a style, but I think just the attitude of being like in love with what you do in a really relaxed way, and not thinking so much about how people will judge you, but just whether or not they'll understand what you're doing and get it. It would be fantastic if there was more of that attitude generally in design and architecture. I think it's a little bit like having a bit of humor about yourself. I think it's just really helpful. It makes everything more enjoyable.
Yeah, definitely. I totally get this. And actually, I would like also to extend this also in our everyday life. I mean, of course, this is our, how to say, professional, our life. So design, it's been a super important part of our life, but it's not just that. But campitudine or campness, I don't know, I will decline it also to, everything basically. It's the key to be happy, to be free, and to be happy to see also other free people. So I like also this exchange.
Actually, I guess something a reference I like is that in Italy, I remember when I sort of when I was younger and I used to sort of go out. In England, everyone is very self-conscious on the dance floor.
Yeah.
Either they go out and learn how to dance and they're amazing, like, oh my God, I'm such a good dancer. Or a lot of people tend to be like really self-conscious and fearful and hold back a lot. And I remember the first time going to Italy, and I was like, oh my God, like everyone's terrible at dancing, but they just dance like nobody's watching. The sort of saying like dancing like nobody's watching, and it just in the most hilarious ways and having so much fun. And I think there's an aspect of that, like design like nobody's watching.
Kind of, yeah, definitely.
A little bit. It's an aspect of it.
But it is, and it's not just individualistic or egoistic. It's just being happy in your own skin, basically, and being happy also to see others happy in their own skin too. So it's
exactly.
It's not just concentrated on yourself. Definitely, it's. I like to think about it as as a flow for everybody who wants to embrace this type of way of thinking.
Are you going to start a cult? Is Camp Gallery going to?
No.
You're going to turn into a camp cult where you can be yourself.
Yeah. No.
To be honest, I've already joined.
Yeah, me too, definitely.
Sorry,
Okay.
Mumu is.
Ciao, Mumu. Bella.
I don't know if you could see her. She wants to join in.
Yes, right. So, okay, Adam. Now, ciao, Mumu, bella. Che carina.
She's my muse.
Yes. Oh, lovely. Okay, Adam, now it's a very delicate moment because I think we run out of time.
Oh, God, okay. That was fast.
Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Chatting hard.
Yeah,
we were saying, okay, let's go.
I mean, just a note to everyone, me and Beatrice can easily just sort of eat pasta for 4 hours and drink and wine and smoke and not realize the time is passing so fast. So.
Yeah, chatting, blah, 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 whatever topic would come up. Okay, but now I really have to be careful because I have to close the video and save it. This instruction, so I hope you guys to have the chance to see it again, maybe
hopefully on Instagram TV, Icon Design Instagram
yes,
TV.
If everything goes okay with my clumsiness IGTV relationship, and then
okay, line by line, read carefully, Beatrice.
Yes, exactly. Okay, Adam. No, okay, we will talk, of course, later for our things. Just one advertising moment. If you want to see one of the beautiful pieces that we realized with
Oh yeah,
Adam,
yeah.
it's the exhibition State of Extreme in Olon, curated by Eric Chen, is still there because they extended the period until I believe in December. So whenever you pass by Tel Aviv, make sure to go to Holland to visit this beautiful exhibition because it's super nice, and also because there's Magic Benevolente standing up there.
Yes, exactly. So
Colors.
all of you, everyone who's watching this in Israel, no excuses. Go to the Design Museum and see Benevolente, and of course the rest of the exhibition, curated by Eric Chen, who's a wonderful person, and it's a great show.
Okay, Adam. So speak to you soon. It was super nice to have this chat. Ciao, Mumu Bella, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Okay, ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao, ciao.